problems you have with localization is that you have to deal with latency. And not like networking latency, but when you have to synchronize 8 localization teams with 16,000 words of text, or 16,000 lines of text, it takes a long time to get a single change done anywhere. So one of the testers will find a problem where they think a word is wrong, or some words don't appear. It looks like a sentence is wrong. And one of the weird problems we have is that a lot of the dialogue in the game, so to speak, is supposed to be damaged and fragmented and not make any sense because they're computers and they're starting to break down. So first the tester has to come to us and find out if that's really the way the original game was supposed to be. So we have to investigate that. And then if we think we found a problem, then we have to figure out where the problem is and then notify all the localization teams. And then a day or two later, they'll get back to us about it. And we have to explain to them that, no, the original game is supposed to be damaged. It's really supposed to look really weird. Like this word is supposed to be spelled wrong, and I understand that you don't have an equivalent for this word being spelled incorrectly. So how do you deal with that? And it's a lot of back and forth. So when you find an error in a game that has very complex amounts of text, you have to find it, analyze it, wait a day, and then another 2 days while you convince them that, no, you've got to change it to something else. And then finally it gets changed, and you get your strings file back. You load it into the game, and then you find out, oh, they had to do some trick with spacing or a special character that we didn't know about, didn't plan for, and now we have to do this all over again. So 2 weeks later, you actually get your text fixed. And you have to plan for that in all of your scheduling, because if you screw that up, you're behind a month before you know it, and you can't ship without all the localizations because you can't even submit for certification until all of your localization is done. So it's kind of a latency problem more than just finding the bug.
I mean, do you do testing in the localized languages, or is the testing in English?
Internally, we test in all the languages. Our producer, Bruce, ran through the game. I remember there was 1 week where he only played it in traditional Chinese, I think. And the problem with that is, we don't know what that's supposed to look like. So all we can do is make sure that the layout looks correct and look for anything that's extremely obvious, like, okay, these characters aren't even rendering correctly, like the graphics are screwed up. Or there's missing stuff, there's supposed to be something here, and there's just some random error string that we know is completely incorrect. So when we think that there might be a problem, we have to go back to the loc team and coordinate with that. And again, that's another communication latency thing. So for the most part, for the languages that we don't understand, we just have to hope that the localization team is right and they do their jobs correctly. And they usually do. They're really good. It's just kind of a time thing.
Yeah, we benefit very much by having Microsoft's experienced Xbox localization teams who we were working with directly. So it was a lot of faith and then a lot of just visual checking that it looked about right on our side. And localization was, I think, one of the very last things. Like, we were working up on localization to the very end. Any other questions?
Would you have, looking back in retrospect, would you have changed the structural management map that you used to do this, or any suggestions that you might be able to offer?
What we have changed? I think, well, it's sort of an all's well that ends well. I would have liked to have been a little more ahead of the curve. I think we were done within 2 months of the stated date, which is not much of a slip in this industry, I don't think. And some of the changes were due to some of the feedback during the development. I think we would have done the networking a little earlier, and I think, anything else from people? No?
We would have brought on more testers. You can
Earlier.
never have too many testers, ever. You can't play test too much, and you can't hire too many testers. I
Who will
we
work
had
under
two
Mike.
really amazing testers, Matt and Evan, but
Yeah, we
We're the
only
best.
had 3 testers, and they only really came on board February. So once the game was up, we thought it was playable enough that it would make sense, because we were all playing it internally, and if you can only get so far. Yeah, once they came on board, that's all they did. Every day they just come in and play it. And I think that's it. Thank you.